Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and hi to everyone. Today is the 13th of October 2024, and it's just past 1 week since the last numismatic fair in Kuala Lumpur, and then just a couple of days coin show in Hong Kong. A lot of the dealers that I know, they are actually in Hong Kong. Some of them just came back from Hong Kong. Yeah, it was a very good opportunity that I have met some new dealers from the last week numismatic fair in Kuala Lumpur. Apparently, he has some old Japanese banknote that I'm actually really dying to look for. And very specific items, to be honest. And so I was very pleased and very happy that I'm able to have this opportunity to find someone who has a lot of his um, old Japanese banknote. They're not uncirculated. Maybe I would say extremely fine to borderline about uncirculated. I would say it won't be uncirculated. That is very for sure. But anyway, for me, knowing that these items are going to be very difficult to find, I have to lower down my bar. Now, some of those items, they are available in eBay. You can buy them in eBay. Some of them are graded, but sorry, some of them are ungraded. Some of them are, sorry, majority of them are graded, encapsulated, and the price is extremely expensive for me to purchase. And one of the items, I will go through those items, and I'm going to reiterate how much would it cost to buy online, such as eBay. Most of the time, I go through references through eBay rather than auction house, because auction house, the tendency is much lower for them to sell Japanese banknotes, especially some of those post Second World War banknotes, pre or during the Empire of Japan, pre 1945. Maybe they are going to be sold in auction house. There are good references from there. But post Second World War Japanese banknotes, rarely people would be selling at auction house. Most of them, they are not aware, and they are disregarded. So the frequency of having Japanese banknotes after Second World War for collectors are very difficult to find. They're not rare. They're not stating as extremely rare. It's just much more difficult to find, especially uncirculated types. But even uncirculated types within Japan, there are still a lot out there in Japan. So the only way for me or anyone who wants to buy good quality grades, like above 60 or 65 and above points of a grade for this banknotes, then they say you have to go to Japan to find it, because most of the dealers in Japan who sells numismatic products or items, they are bread and butter stores. Okay, they are bricks and mortar stores. They don't deal online businesses. Heck, still today, their auction house don't deal with credit cards as a payment for international bidders. And that is something I realized last week. They don't take credit cards. They only do bank transfer. So they're still quite old-fashioned, I would say, rather than approaching international. So most of the time, the auction house in Japan, the dealers in Japan, they are mainly catered domestic bidders, domestic collectors, and domestic investors, rather than dealing international. Now that is to me not it's not a surprise, because generally across the board, Japan's economic system has been running. They are mainly focuses on domestic consumers rather than internationals. Only a few major companies deals with international. Even that, sometimes we always say that Japanese have a lot of products that we don't have outside of Japan. Well, they are selling outside of Japan. They're only selling about products, maybe about 35 to 40% of the total products they're selling in their companies. The rest of the models or brands or devices they're selling are in Japan. One good example is rice cooker. Now, most of the rice cooker we see in our stores, they're quite regular rice cooker. But if you go to Japan, same brand, like Panasonic's, some rice cooker brands that you find, Japanese brands, you notice that they're selling something even extraordinary brands, some extraordinary items, things that you can't get in your country, even it is made in Japan. It's the same brand, but they're selling totally unique items in Japan, much more sophisticated, much more advanced. That it's the same concept, across the whole entire product and industry in Japan. Their main focus is domestic consumers rather than international. So you ask me, on the sideline, economically, Japan it will always be under disadvantage compared to China. China would export everywhere across the world. Whatever product they made, they will export it across the world, because they see profit is coming from exports rather than domestic comes in as the main source of income or profits. So Japan is playing a very different ball game, protecting itself. There is advantage and disadvantage towards that, but to become a strong economy, you need to have a strong export. The brand needs to be well known and well positioned in the world. Currently, we don't see many of the Japanese brands are doing that. If you talk about cars, well, certain cars that we see in Japan is very funky, very unique, such as K cars. Some countries like very urbanized cities or cottage industry cities, very small scale cities like in Japan. A lot of roads are not meant for big cars, for like Hummers or Mercedes Benz S class kind of cars. Hummers can go through most of Japanese or Tokyo road. Same goes to some of the European countries. A lot of the rural houses, rural towns do not cater such kind of monstrosity vehicle. K cars are the one that caters to it. Of course, K cars was invented because of the requirement of the it's a loophole to go around the regulation that the Japanese government has imposed, thus creating a car that is small enough to meet the requirement of the Japanese law. So this kind of cars have potential selling to this rural towns or people who wants a smaller vehicles, and a lot of cars these days are single uh, passenger or just the driver. In the sense that if you have four members in the household, there will be four cars, each of them, rather than one or two cars. We have the potential for doing that, but the Japanese tendency is they don't export K cars overseas. They are only used in domestic consumers in Japan. So they don't export that, and they export most of the standard vehicle cars that is big size, or we call it standard. That is how Japan would be quite behind in their economic prospect, if you ask me. So would Japan revive to become second best? Probably not. But being top 10, probably yes. But there are more and more nations doing more technological and export goods, and more consumers are buying internationally. Japan will continue to with a downward spiral. They'll be weaker, they'll lose the international market share, and the international consumer, as they are much more conservative in the economic sense. So now while I'm talking about cars and all this in quite a lengthy period time, about this almost 10-11 minutes, the point is, even numismatic, if you want to buy something from Japan, it's very difficult. They will sell things for to international people, such as myself. I don't live in Japan, but I do collect Japanese banknotes. So it's very difficult to get it, but in Japan it's quite easy. That is why they don't value it as hundreds of thousands of yen. And their price range according to the catalog book is still reasonable. It's still reasonable, but because it is not properly uh, connections to sell international, you will see a lot of people realize this when they're selling Japanese banknotes on eBay or online, and they sell very exorbitant price. It's a very ridiculous price. So I just want to make it clear today. I met this dealer last week, and I met him again today. I really would love to thank him, but I do not want to disclose his name and whatsoever. He would be probably my new best friend for a couple of years to come. As he travels across the world, I like that because he's like a nomad. He travels across the world collecting unique banknotes and collecting them and selling to other dealers who is also doing some business. So it's like a nomad or merchant traveling across one city to another city, buy and sell. So people like this doing his so-called modus operandi, I think has a potential to find any unique banknotes through him. So I'm very pleased to have friends with him, and hopefully we can conduct more business. So I've already told him what I mostly collect. I collect Chinese, I collect Korean, I collect Japanese, United States banknotes, and some European, new or Caribbean, more commemorative banknotes. So at least something on and off. What anything he has specials, especially older ones, that probably I can potentially meet him again. He'll just pop me up a message. Hey, are you interested in this? He could save me one or buy me one special one. That'll be fine. So this is something of building up relationship with dealers that most of the collectors, for long-term collectors or dedicated numismatic hobbyists, would need to do to get networking so that you can get the banknotes. That's one way to do it. Other than going solo, looking at internet, eBay and so forth to buy, or going online purchases like in the auction house and so forth. Those are also options. So on that sideline note, I think today I might not want to talk about other sidelines because it's not much of mundane. So let's get on to the banknotes that I got. I promise you, hopefully, it's less than an hour to talk about things that. Again, most of my recordings here, I'm not well prepared. It's quite impromptu. Whatever I speak is within my mind immediately, so it's very casual. Again, I do this recording for my own so-called records or cataloging my banknotes that I got on the day itself. That's why I use YouTube's server as my own catalog and library. of the items that I've collected throughout those days, months, or years, which I just started this year, of course. And in the plus side, whatever I've collected, I would like to share to the world, to all you viewers, that what I've collected. Since last week, that I had got a big catch on my banknotes, such as 1914 50 US dollar, 1914 series, the 50 US dollar replacement note. I've been asking people. I went through the PMG appraisals and so forth, blah blah blah, gradings. They do have one thing in common. They did say it is very scarce note. Highly recommend to encapsulate it. But I'm more concerned is how much I have to pay, because at the moment I don't have enough money to pay for those service fee for grading at the moment. But those definitely the 50 US dollar that I have, that are, as most of you who are returning viewers or so forth, have viewed my Federal Reserve note 50 US dollar replacement note or star note, that if those who collects it, you realize that note is worth more than like 10,000 US dollar if the condition is at very fine. They're worth more than 10,000 US dollars at the moment it stands. Heritage auction, most of it stands at 14 to 16,000 US dollar on the last bidding. So yeah, I'm hopefully that it's one of my most cherished notes. Currently in my collection, it's a king of my notes. Yeah, among all the notes in high value, that is now currently the 50 US dollar is my highest value note. Anyway, let's get on to the notes that I have. So today I've actually got 4 new notes from the dealer that I just spoke about, my Nomad dealer. So what is he got in the collection that I needed is very pleasing. I'm very happy to have it. Of course I need to sacrifice in advance of my capital just to get it. But anyway, all the things that I got from him, the price that he asks is relatively good, I would say. He charged me in the forex exchange rate, so he was charging me like 300 for every 10,000 yen for 300 ringgit. So that was really good. Actually, I'm very happy. Of course, to make a little bit of profit margin, some of the notes is a bit more expensive, but compared to what I've seen on eBay or online sales of a similar note, of course better condition, they are much expensive that I could not afford. So here we go. We'll start from the 5,000 yen. Yep. Now this is the 5,000 yen. Condition wise, not so good, but anyway, these are notes that are very old. This is printed in 1980s, 1987, 1988 period. This 5,000 is much difficult to find. So you can see there are plenty of lines, heavy stain marks here. Watermark still very good, as you can see. Watermark still quite relatively good, I would say, the note. But all in all, there's a tear in the center here, which is considered as a bad sign. But anyway, for a single prefix, black single prefix at the front, is very difficult to find. And in eBay, they're selling around 5th graded, about 50 and above. I think it's 50, 53 or so. I find this in eBay, they're selling around 900 ringgit. About 800 to 900. It's almost 1,000 ringgit. I got this one for about 150 ringgit. So plus a little bit profit for him. It's about 180 ringgit. About 180 ringgit. So it's almost the same value as the current forex exchange. So I was very pleased that he's selling me a near to the forex exchange rate. Of course, he needs to make a little bit profit, slightly higher from the forex. I don't expect him to give me the same price that displayed on the forex, because it will not be fair to him to do business. He needs money. This is a life for him, so I have to take it in consideration, and also take in consideration how much I could spend. And the deal was very good. Actually, it's way too good to be true. Actually, for what he has offered me. So if it's 150 at the forex exchange at the moment for 5,000 yen, he's charging me 180. He's making about 30 ringgit extra. To me, it's a really good price. Of course, it's not the condition wise is quite not make sense. I mean, is I would say is very high side of very fine condition, or at mid range of very fine. But this 5,000 yen is very difficult to find. Again, single prefix, black in color. So let's check out from the book catalog. What does the mysteries of the Oracle of the banknote in Japan would say? So this is it, 5,000 yen. As you can see, I already have the it's 1984. So the black serial number, 1 prefix and 2 prefix, they were printing around this period of time, 1984. And then from 1993, I mean, they printed it from 1984 to 1992 for the black series. The brown series, they printed 1993 to 2000. And then 2001 to 2002, they print in brown, but in a different engraver and printing name, from Okurasho to Zaimusho. And then from 2003, and only 2003, they print in Koku. Now the last one, actually, technicality. If you base on quantity, the Koku for this series, which in the Japanese call it D series, this D series for Koku in brown, which is the only one, they only print only 1 year, 2003, because when they converted to the E series, as you can see, is 2004 they started printing the new series. So 2003 is the only year they print in Koku for the D series. So if you look at the price range, it is not expensive to get the black series or the brown series for Okurasho, because the amount of quantity print with the span of the time of the year they have print, they are much more common in the circulation. Thus, collection wise, the quantity is higher than the demand, so they are quite cheap. In Japan, even in the catalog book, as you can see, in Japan, they still consider this note as legal tender, so their value is technically under face value. That's right, face value 5,000, uncirculated 5,000. They cannot, the catalog book, the organization in Japan for this numismatic organization, they don't put a price for this series yet compared to the other series. As you can see, like the C series, which is very long time ago, has discontinued. They do put up the price, like the uncirculated fair means dash means is face value 500 yen. So they do put price if the condition is uncirculated and so forth. But for the D series onward, they still considered in Japan, it's still considered a circulating note. It's still legal tender. Actually, technically, all these notes in Japan, all these notes, even the older ones like this 500 yen, this 1,000 yen, all these notes are still considered legal tender. All of these notes that you see here, they are all considered legal tender today. Although they have discontinued far long ago, they are still considered legal tender. So, in a technical sense, they are face value. They are not considered as antique enough to be collected, so they didn't put in the price. But what are the good indication for collectors? One, that's the reason why I bought this book, is to know and indicate how many are they, how many engravers there are there, when did they printed, how long they were printed. This will give you an indication of the price range of which are the things that you need to get. And for me, for the 5,000 yen, I've nearly completed everything. That is a good thing. Right now I already got this one prefix. Now I'm looking for black color prefix, 2 alphabets. I'm looking for 2 alphabets like this, 2 alphabet but in black color. So as you can see right now, the banknote is black and single prefix. Now in quantity wise, compared to double prefix and single prefix, the single prefix quantity is much lower. Is much lower than the double prefix, because if you calculate the quantity you can print, the maximum you can print, the single prefix is much more significantly little compared to, it's not literally double, because the alphabet you can play with in double alphabets, you can play a lot. So the amount of quantity you can print probably about more than 20, about 10 or 12 times more than the single prefix. So that is one of the reasons that they have a long period of printing for the notes, like 5,000, 10,000 yen and above. So all their notes. So single prefix is much more rarer compared to the double prefix. But knowing this is they have printed much longer period, it is not set to be more expensive. If I have all uncirculated, same grade, the most expensive is actually printed in 2002, because that quantity they only print 1 year. 1 year they print the new engravers, which is at the bottom here is written. This one is considered as okurasho. Then you have the second series of a change of engraver's name and a printing name to zaimusho, and the last one they changed in 2002 is 2002 to 2003 is koku, national, or English we just call it national engravers and printing. So that one is much more rarer, and I have that in uncirculated. I found it in the auction house. If you look at my previous video, that I bought it in the auction house online. So that was considered my big prize at that time. Now I'm looking for something very difficult to find, but is not considered rare. Now, this type of note, if you look at eBay, graded in a good condition, they're selling a really expensive, probably 1,000 to 1,200 ringgit. Cheapest one I could find is about 800 to 900 ringgit. So for me to get this one at 180 ringgit, I am very satisfied. I'm a very happy man. So that is one that it goes. So we have 3 more to go, but actually 2 types to go. The next one is a bit bigger juggernaut, 10,000 yen. And as you can see, if you all realize, since I have been having conversation describing it, it's a single prefix. This note is supposed to be in huge quantity. They printed this 10,000 yen note as a standard for international notes, for international travelers and so forth, as a Japanese reserve. This is the note that our so-called forefathers during the economic boom, or those baby boomers people, this is the note they recognize as Japanese yen for 10,000 yen. Now the only unique thing about this is a single prefix. Now this one, they don't have brown, they don't have other colors compared to the new series. The older series, they still maintain black color. There's no other color, there's serial or prefix, but they have the single alphabet and double alphabet at the front. That makes it so unique uh, uh, for this note. Now, again, 10,000 single prefix, again, very rare. A lot of time I find this one is always double prefix rather than single prefix. And in eBay, I'm able to spot only one seller who's selling a single prefix and is selling around about 2,000 to 2,500 ringgit. Of course, his condition is much better than mine. His condition is uncirculated, I would say. His is uncirculated. Mine is, well, quite circulated, but the condition wise, still very good. The color didn't fade it. There's no much wrinkles other than we have a strong fold line on the center and minor fold here and here. It has 3 fold, but it doesn't have any horizontal fold, just vertical folds. The watermark, even under the light, you still can see the embossing. So it's very good condition if you ask me. Yes, means a very good condition of a note. Beautiful color has not faded. Color of the paper still the same, as this is what the design of a Japanese banknote. Now the paper quality is different. It's a cream paper. Color is based on their own traditional paper fiber, which is washi. It's a much more stronger type of paper, but the only disadvantage I don't like about the banknotes paper, once it's folded, it's gone. It's permanent. This line has been folded many times, or even one time, that line stays there forever. Compared to the cotton blend of notes that we normally see in other countries or rest of the world, Japanese don't use cotton on their paper. That's why uniquely the paper color is cream color or brownish beige color. That's how Japanese notes are because of the material of the paper. They are strong, they are durable. They're much more durable note, to be honest, to be safe. They are much more hard paper. They're much more hard paper than the cotton type. And but the problem is, once you got fold, it stays there forever. You can see it. It's a sore eye to see these lines here. So, but anyway, among all the 10,000 yens my dear friend Mr. Dealer had, this is the only piece he had. Actually, he has 2 pieces, but the other one is because I can't afford to buy both of them, so I had to choose the best. So he gave me this bad boy. So I got this one. And the condition wise, I'm still very surprised. It's, I would say, extremely fine condition. At the mid extremely fine, it won't be a choice extremely fine. It will be mid-range extreme fine. It won't, because it's near like about a circulated condition, but because of the fold, it just ruins the about uncirculated. Corner wise, it's still sharp, which is the best thing about Japanese banknote of their hard paper. So compared to the cotton ones, you'll see the sharpness, the edge of the corners becomes more curved, more circular. That is very common if there's is a sign of a wear and tear. But Japanese notes, the wear and tear on the side for the sharpness to change is very rare. It's because the paper is much hard and much more durable. That's how it looks in the front. This is how it looks in the back. Very symmetrical, I would say. The banknote, the Japanese banknote. This is Prince Shotoku, or the very first to become Buddhist, officially making Japanese society the introduction of Buddhism in Japan, and he was the one of the reigning periods when the Buddhists arrived to Japan. Before that, it was more legalism and more Shintoism religion, the local folklore religion. So yeah, single prefix. I got it. How much? I got this one 400 ringgit. Of course, if the forex exchange is 300 ringgit. Sure, he make a profit out of me 100 ringgit. Fair enough. I have to give him extra 100 ringgit. Fair enough. But if you're going to find this one, good luck. I wouldn't be able to find the next thing in online for a single prefix of this in uncirculated condition or circulated condition. It's literally very, very rare to find an eBay or any online or any even auction house selling a single prefix this online at the moment. I don't see it. Unless you go to Japan, then you can find it. Probably you can find it. And you probably pay it in a very good price. Which what he does. He went to Japan and he bought it from a friend in Japan. And that is how he got it. And he got it with the exchange rate of the face value. He got it for 300, or probably at that time 360, when ringgit was a bit much more higher, much more weaker compared to other currencies. Right now, Malaysia ringgit is quite strong, one of the best performing currency at the moment against US dollar. So 300, I paid 400 for him. Probably him just made about 40 ringgit or 20 ringgit from me. But to me, I'm just pay him an extra of 100 ringgit. Compared to online, they're selling around 2,000, 1,800, 1,500 as the cheapest one that I can find. But of course, the condition wise is uncirculated and it's encapsulated, graded. It means. I tend to say don't buy graded products myself. I don't, unless it is no choice, out of no choice. I prefer to buy a raw note, see it for myself, looking at it myself. If I consider to grade it or not to grade, that's my own decision. So this note at the moment in the catalog book, it's much more older than this, so it's here we are. A single alphabet uncirculated is 40,000 yen. Extremely fine 20,000, and then we see very fine at 13,000 yen. Now I'm looking at this one that I've got. I'm probably looking at extremely fine, so it's around 20k, 20,000 yen, double for its face value. So that's about, actual price is supposed to be around 600. It's supposed to be around 600 ringgit to be purchased for the condition that I'm right now in possession, but he sold me about 400. So that's a reduction of 200 ringgit, at least 200 ringgit from the collector's value of 20k. If you look at uncirculated, selling at 40,000, even 40,000. That's how much in ringgit? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1,200 ringgit. Yet in eBay, they're not selling at 1,200. They're not selling at 1,300 to make a little profit there. They're selling a whopping 1,500 to 2,000 ringgit. They're making exorbitant money out of this note for uncirculated. So to me, it's way too expensive to buy in online. That is why I avoided buying online and patiently been waiting, searching for this type of notes since almost, I would say, 2-3 years already, and finally I've got it. Now I have already had the double prefix, which there are plenty of people are selling this note in double prefix. Among the quantity that my dealer has, he has plenty of this note. Actually 10,000 yen, about 15 pieces of it. Only 2 out of the 15 are single prefix. The rest are all double prefix. Yeah, there you have it. It's very, very rare to find a single prefix, let alone in such a great condition, no tear. Compared to the 5,000, there's a tear in the center here. This one is no tear. So it indicates to me this wear and tear, the circulation for 5,000 yen note, this one has gone much journey compared to this 10,000 yen. This 10,000 probably just went through a few rounds, Somebody folded one, two, three to compact it into a little one here, into somebody somewhere in the wallet or wherever, as a luck or as a reserve. That's why these notes are not so damaged, not so wrinkled. It's still in great condition. The color is still great. I am very, very happy to get this one, to finally complete this set. They only have two pieces of this, which is a single prefix and double prefix. So I consider me this, I have already completed these 10,000 yen. Unless somebody has a better condition and they're selling me at a good price, I am considering upgrading it for my collection. So at the moment, it's the only piece I have. 10,000 yen. Those economic miracle periods in Japan after Second World War. This is the note that they circulate and use for many decades, about more than 10 to 15 years. But in Japan, this note is still considered 10,000 yen in face value. It's still legal tender. I remind everyone, it's still legal tender. But the younger generations, they thought this is a fake money. But it is technically real, technically is old, technically is still legal tender as face value of 10,000 yen. Of course, those days 10,000 yen and the current 10,000 yen is very different kind of feel. So that is the 10,000 yen. The next one is the last one, I would say. I bought two of them. 1,000 yen, portrait of Hirobumi, first prime minister in Japan, if I would say. If I am correct, if I'm wrong, please comment. I'm very happy. Condition wise, I would say about uncirculated. I was shocked to find about uncirculated for this note. There's some wrinkles here, but the major wrinkles is this one across the portrait here. I think this was done by the dealer, sadly, because it's across the line here. You can see the shadowish line here. This is folded. It is folded. So that is majorly pain for me, but there's no major fold in the center. There's no major fold like the conventional fold that most of the people put in their wallets. Everything is still in good condition. The paper is strong. Corners are sharp. Some of that a little bit more dented damage than the others. There's minor fault line here. I think it's a counting where people do counts of the quantity of this banknote, but everything else is superb. No stain marks. There's no stain here. It's all clear, clean. This note is superb, and for me to get from him for a single prefix, black color, of course, black color, which is the first one issuance of the serial number, is stupendous. I got both of them. Of course, this is a better condition than this. This one has also have a wrinkle here. That is why I was indicating that I was just my hunch is the done by the dealer rather than the bank itself or during in Japan, or this was his circulated. This also again a single prefix, black. This is the back, which is a centerpiece of the architecture building, is the Bank of Japan, which currently still stands today. The only difference is some of the trees here, they're no longer trees. They mostly become the major roads in Tokyo. So yeah, this is the Bank of Japan. This is where they set the interest rate in Japan. I mean, this note is design wise is much more simpler. It has the flower of the chrysanthemum flower, which is the flower representing the emperor. I believe this is chrysanthemum. It looks like, but the color I can't indicate that because of the paper is a cream paper. Watermarks very strong. There's no fold in the middle. Notes strong. Under one of my finger is very sturdy. It's not limped, indicating this note was not used very often. Probably they used once or twice, but the handling of this note, there's no wrinkles, there's no scorch, no stain other than this fold here. There's no stain on this note. Is superb. I would say this note is about 1,000. About 1,000. Well, this 1,000 probably single prefix black is how do I say? In this great number, about uncirculated to the choice extremely fine. Minimum choice extremely fine. It should be 45. I would say in a shadow scale, I think it's 45 is the best. It is best. It won't be very fine. This must minimum is extremely fine. To the lowest point of extremely fine of 40. I would believe it will stay minimum 40. Above probably go on to 50 or 53. It won't go higher nor lower than those numbers. I would believe in that. So the Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister of Japan, Hirobumi, and it's single prefix, but sadly he doesn't have the blue. Now this 1,000, which is vastly more printed quantities than the 10,000, because most of the common people don't carry so much banknotes, or they don't have enough funds to have so much money on their saving account or in their wallet to have the capacity to carry 10,000. So most of it is printed in 1,000. So 1,000 actually have two types of alphabets color, the black and a dark blue or dark naval color, dark naval blue color, some might want to refer to it. But sadly, my friend the dealer has only a single prefix in black. He doesn't have the blue one, so he said he'll keep looking for it. I think he said he has a lot of this, but not in this condition, much more worse condition. For me, it is fine. If he can find a blue single prefix, it will complete my set for this 1,000 yen series. Now, let's see how much it is actually is in the catalog book. In the catalog 1,000, as you can see, I already had the two prefix, which is the black color and the blue color for double prefix, double alphabet. Now I have already collected this one. Uncirculated is about 14,000 yen. Extra refined 8,000 yen. Very fine 4,000 yen. And fine at 2,000 yen. As you can see, the single alphabet across to the grade of 30, I would say, has a higher value than its face value, but the double prefix is only has value at uncirculated. Beyond that is considered as face value of 1,000 yen. Again, this note, okay, C series, it was printed in 1963, is still considered valid of 1,000 yen today. You still can use this note as a valid transaction in Japan for 1,000 yen, even though it was printed in 1963. So, but of course nobody use this, and a lot of younger generation think this is not money, this is a fake money or fantasy money. You know, they would never seen the older generation banknotes like these. There's one time I actually kept this note, my last trip to overseas to Japan when I was a kid in 1996. My father kept some of the old banknotes like this one when I traveled in when I was in 1995. Yeah, that was my last trip. 1995 or 1996 when I traveled to Japan was my first time when I was still young, can't remember much. Then the next trip was in 2005 with my friends after my graduation from high school. I brought this note from what I have extra to Japan, and I showed something while I was in the plane. I was showing these notes, asking them, "Are these notes still valid?" They're local Japanese. I was traveling from Kuala Lumpur to uh, Haneda Airport to Tokyo. So along the journey, I sat next to Japanese sit national, two Japanese girls. So I asked them, this note. I showed them this 10,000 yen note, and then to them, they never seen this note before. They never seen this note before. I mean, that was crazy. How could they not seen this note? This note, at least they were printed in 2003. When I was in traveling in Japan, it was 2005. They have a newer note. They think this is a fake note actually, because why? Comparing this note and the newer series, they have holographic, they have blind man series, blind man issuance on the side here at L indicating. This is the one they recognize daily. This is the note they recognize, not this note. They don't recognize this note. I mean, it was bizarre at that period when I traveled to Japan. It was bizarre how they would not know this note is genuine. So I'm thinking about that. If Japan, Bank of Japan, still stating this 1,000 yen still valid as 1,000 yen, can you imagine the people using it? Unless they're the older generation, probably around more than 50 years old or 60 years old, they might know this note because when they were young at the time, this is the note they use. So this is something uniquely I find in Japan. The younger generation may not see all these old notes. They think this is a fake note. Can you imagine? 500 yen is still considered. This note is still considered 500 yen is still valid, but most of the younger generation indicating that 500 yen is actually the coin. The coin is the 500 yen. There's no such thing as banknote 500 yen, but they do exist. And it's still technically valid today. This is printed like, let's say, 1969, and it's still considered valid. Not knowing that 100 yen is still considered valid. Sorry. The 100 yen is still considered valid note. It's still considered 5,000 yen. Probably okay. But the younger generation don't think this is a real note. They think it's a fake note. This small denomination like 100 yen, 50 yen, they were printed like in 1960, 1951 and 1953. These notes are still considered valid as 50 yen and 100 yen today. It's bizarre, but it's very interesting, as a hobbyist who collects old banknotes, and knowing that the old banknote in their home country, in Japan, is still considered valid. Whereas most of the currency in my country, most of the series that we have, we already consider them discontinued. They are no longer valid. We cancel out the old series. We give a grace period of probably a grace period of 5 to 10 years as overlapping the old ones, and the old ones becomes invalid, or the denomination has been demonetized, like 1,000 ringgit and 500 ringgit banknotes. They were already declared as no value in 2000. If I'm not mistaken, it was around 2001 or 2002. They are considered no value. The banknote is cancelled. And if you have the old banknotes, the only people that can exchange according to the face value of the discontinued banknote is the central bank itself. You have to go to the central bank. The central bank will willing to change that money to a newer version money, and they'll take the old money for the same value. If you give 1,000 old banknote, they give you 1,000 new banknote, which is in 10 pieces of 100 ringgit. Yeah, that's how it is. But if you are smart enough, there's a collector, this note is no longer is already no longer in use and discontinued. It has a collector's value added. So they are not you're not getting 1,000, you're getting about 1,100 or 2,000 or 2,500, depends on the condition. If the condition is very good, you could be selling around 4,000 to 6,000 ringgit. So again, Japan is a little bit different. All these notes, the younger generation, they think this is fake note, they think this is not real money. So yeah, that's how it is. Again, I've got this 1,000 yen from my current dealer, so I only got the black one, which is this one, which is the expensive one and the hardest one to find. Probably around this condition, 8,000 yen. 8,000 yen in ringgit, probably about 100 and about 200 something. 200 something ish, but definitely more than 150 ringgit. So I didn't get there for like 300 for both of these. No. I got from them, each of them, for 40 ringgit. That's right. Face value, near face value of 40 ringgit each. So I got both of them for 80 ringgit. 80 ringgit, and the face value of the price could be about 8,000 yen. That's more than 150 ringgit each. So probably at minimum, I just say rock bottom price, it should be 300 for both of them. I got it for 80 ringgit. 80 ringgit is a steal for me. But I understand he has plenty of this note. He got it for its face value, so he doesn't charge the price up that high. So considered for me a blessing, I would say, and for him, he just made probably 10 ringgit each from this too. So I am actually very happy to meet him, and I'm very happy to continue dealing with him in the coming future in these circumstances. So that is all for today. Yep, it's almost an hour. So just recently, after my last video about my banknotes that I've the currency that I've collected or I bought from the fair, my video has been going up more than 100 viewers. I was very happy, and I'm still happy. First time to see so many people enjoy my viewing my collection. So hopefully next time I'm trying to cut to the chase rather than talk too much on other things, but just to keep it more entertaining as much as I could in collection wise. Still yet I record things that I need to say, but I will try to keep it short on my videos on my note about notes, and directly show the notes that what I have, what are there, what are the condition, and hopefully that keeps that in interesting way. So that is all for today. Thank you very much for your view. Please, if you like to see the next future video, please do subscribe if you wish to. If you have comments or something that I said is mistaken or wrong, please comment. Sharing is caring, I would say. Exchanging information is the best thing you could do to help anyone to make it right, to give them understanding what is the right thing, right information. Sometimes I do get wrong information, and I'm spewing out wrong information, and I hope to see you guys again real soon. Probably next week I would do something or not, that depends. Till then, thank you very much, and see you again. Bye.